Hello and welcome back to Movie Theater Explorer. This is Brent, your Movie Theater Explorer here. Again, coming forward with some more reviews of movies that I've seen the last couple of weeks. And just sharing some of my theater going experience and some of my home theater watching experiences. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on those. Well, first off, actually, thank you for checking this out. And hopefully you find any of these reviews helpful for you and finding ones to go see in theaters or just ones that you just want to watch at home. So, um, all right, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. Um, and oh yeah, and one last thing, you will find in the description timestamps for each review. So if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can jump to whatever review feel like fits perfect for you. So, okay, with that in mind, out of all the way, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the movies that I saw in theaters. The first one I'm going to talk about is Minions and Monsters. I went to go see that one in an IMAX theater. So this is ongoing of the Despicable Me franchise. The first one came out in 2010, which I enjoyed very much. It had a good solid story, and the Minions characters were fun side characters that got plenty of laughs out of me, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. It was a fun time, um, and yeah, it just had that good fun family balance all together. So and even to this day, I haven't rewatched it in a while, but I did rewatch it years ago, and it was still a lot of fun to watch. Um, then there was a sequel 3 years after that, and I really enjoyed that one as well. And again, just had the same formula, plenty of laughs, good, solid, fun family story with the minions bringing a lot of laughter. So another really fun time in the theater, and I enjoyed rewatching it. The next one that did follow was the first Minions movie, which I saw. Like, it was okay. I didn't think much of the idea of having the Minions going from side characters to playing main roles, working very well, but it was what it was, and I got some enjoyment out of it, but not enough to really care about it. They did a Despicable Me 3, which I saw, and again, some good moments here and there, but nothing that made a long lasting impression. Um, there are other ones that followed, which I did not see. Or actually, no, I did see the second Minions movie later on, just on video. Um, but it wasn't something I sought after to see. Um, and then, yeah, Minions and Monsters was going to be another one of those that I'm like, hey, cool that they're making another one. I don't care to see. But then the reviews started to come out, and the word of mouth actually started to grab my attention. And the big reason why I'm going through all this is, again, I enjoy the minion characters. I don't think of them much as main characters, but what stood out was just how this was a homage to classic cinema, and and it just felt like they put a little more effort in the story. So it was enough that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go see it. It wasn't on my radar, but why not? So I did, and to be honest, I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Um, just as the reviews had said, it does have a lot of references and homage to classic cinema. Like, it was basically a love letter to classic cinema in some instances, and I really like that. So I'm glad I saw it. And it was, again, I saw it in IMAX. This wasn't something like you need to see in IMAX. I think just seeing it in a regular theater, if you're wanting to go see it, I think it's just fine. Um, so yeah, overall, it was a fun time in the theater. and the audience I was with, it was a pretty packed theater, honestly. I went on a discount day, by the way, so I didn't go opening night. I didn't go opening week. Well, actually, technically, I kind of did go opening week because it started on a Wednesday. I went on a Tuesday. So, and yeah, I had a fun time. I think the audience I was with seemed to have a fun time, and there's plenty of stuff that was just like, hey, I just made me laugh, or just even if not laugh, just made me smile. And so this is one of those like, hey, I wouldn't mind going to see again. So, so for those that hate and they can tolerate the minions enough, because I tolerated them. I didn't. I It didn't like enrage me or anything like that. The characters, even after the first two movies, it was one of those that like, hey, if you tolerate the minions, you may not be the biggest fan, but hey, you're open to watch another one and enjoy love letters to classic cinema. I do recommend checking this one out. So that's where my recommendation of this one is. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is Citizen Kane. This one was playing in theaters because it is playing for its it was playing as part of a Fathom events for its 85th anniversary. So I wanted to go. I watched this in two different film classes when I was in college, and I wanted to. I had not seen it since, and I figured like I've never seen it in theaters, so I thought this would be appropriate time to go see it. So that's exactly what I did. I went to go see it, and I went to go see it in theaters, and it was just definitely a great theater going experience. There was a fair amount of people in the theater that I was in, and it wasn't a big auditorium; it was a pretty small one, um, and the audio was more up in the front, so it was obviously it's a mono mix. It's made 85 years ago, so but they put to great use to that mono mix because the audio sounds very good and sounds really solid from where it's coming from. It's well balanced, and that includes the music, the sound effects, the dialogue, and all that. So, and the story's really good. It's one of those that I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't seen it, but it's one of those that has left an impression. One that definitely does get you thinking a little bit afterwards, and yeah, it was. It's still great to go back and rewatch and just appreciate the skill and craft that went into making it, because a lot of the techniques that were utilized were kind of made to help solidify the cinematic language, which would become more utilized in later movies. So a lot of it was formed here and would get utilized later, more later, but this was kind of like groundbreaking in many instances. So, and just having that experience is something that you can trace back to, and just something that's just greatly made and greatly told was definitely a very special experience. And glad I had this opportunity to see in theaters. And if you have an opportunity to ever see Citizen Kane in theaters, I definitely recommend checking it out. So, okay, those are the ones that I saw in theaters. I'm going to talk about ones that I have watched in the home theaters. So, um, the first one I'm going to talk about is Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, and I picked this one up on 4K Ultra HD recently. I saw this one back in theaters back in 2001 when it came out, and I remember looking forward to it because the animation from the trailers looked so cool, so revolutionary, and I was just really excited to see it for that reason. And so I went to go see it, um, and yeah, the animation was mind blowing. The visuals were mind blowing. The theater going experience is kind of cool. The story was okay for me. It wasn't anything grand to it, but I mean, there was some cool stuff in it, but it was just the type of story that I don't think I was prepared for the directions things would go. I think the best way to put it without going into too many details. So, um, overall, it's still one of those that I've gone back and rewatched since, and overall, it's like the story's gotten better for me. I appreciate what they were trying to do and everything, and I think it's still a very solid. I think it's a decent story. Um, if you're asking me if I think it ties well into the Final Fantasy universe, because I haven't played really any of the games, I'm the wrong person to ask, and but I don't think so. And but honestly, for what it is, for what the story they were telling, for how it was made, um, I think it's still enjoyable. Um, I will say this about the animation: the movements and things like that are dated, but some of the facial details are still very impressive. Like I'm like that some of the details are still impressive, and even if the movement, because it was done, I think a lot of it was done motion capture, so the movement's a little bit rough, but still, I still think it's still rather impressive, and it was one that was still cool to check out or recheck out for that reason. So I will say this: if you're one of those that kind of like groundbreaking animation, just are very curious on how some evolution took place and all that, and do like a science fiction movie that, even if it's not the best story ever told, just might have some cool visuals, I do recommend checking it out. I picked this one up on 4K Ultra HD, um, and I was actually rather impressed with the home theater and presentation. I thought the picture was really good. Even if the animation might have been a little dated in some areas, still some of the details are well impressive, and just how just the details on the projected screen, the colors and all that, just it looked impressive. I was I was rather more impressed than I thought I would be. Um, and again, that scope on the projected screen was really impressive. Um, and then the sound was in Dolby Atmos, and I would say out of anything, that was the main winner of the presentation for me. The just it sounded really cool. It and it sounded very immersive and everything. And so hearing all the sound effects from all over the soundscape was impressive, and the power that it had was impressive. So I would say for that the reason this was a great home theater experience. Um, So yeah, I if you like the movie, you want to pick it up, I think you can get it for a good price, and I recommend picking it up on 4K Ultra HD if you want to get it and you may not have gotten it before. So okay, the next one, Twisters. I watched the first Twister a couple months ago, and I thought, hey, you know what? It would be cool to rewatch the next one. I saw that one in theaters a couple years ago. I actually saw it quite a few times in theaters in a few different formats. And so I thought, hey, you know what? It'd be cool to. Okay, so let's just backtrack to the ways that I saw it in theaters. I saw it in IMAX. This was my first time seeing a movie in Dolby Cinema, which I've only seen two movies in Dolby Cinema thus far, but it was very cool. And then, um, and then I saw it in another premium theater, and then just in a regular theater. So and IMAX was the winner for me, even though Dolby Cinema was really impressive. And the picture quality, I'd say, like the quality of it, because of the detail and all that, was probably more impressive than in IMAX. Though the scope was more impressive in IMAX. Anyway, the those are some of my experiences in theaters, and just rewatching it, I'm like, I enjoyed it a lot. I still enjoyed it. I still thought it had a better story than I than I was expecting it to be. So, and I that's what stood out to me. It was still good to rewatch just for that reason. Even the experience of the twister, the tornado sequences, and all that were still impressive, like the visual effects and just how everything was portrayed and captured on screen and crafted on screen and everything. So I was very. It was still a very impressive movie. It still sounds really good and everything, and performances are good in this. So um, it was worth rewatching and re-experiencing in the home theater. And if you haven't seen it, I do recommend checking it out. It's a solid, like it's not. I don't consider it a sequel per se. I don't know how to best describe. It's sure it's sequel in word or in name, but it's not necessarily a sequel because it's not a continuation of these characters. It might be a continuation of the world because the Dorothy device that was used in the first movie is used again here. So, in one part, but it was still like it's still worth rewatching. So, I do recommend checking out if you haven't seen it yet. I did get this on 4K Ultra HD when it came out, and I thought now seemed the appropriate time to rewatch it, and I checked it on the dedicated home theater, and it was an impressive home theater presentation. The picture looked really good. That like the quality of it looked really good with the it was shot on film, so I could see the film grain and just the colors and the details looked really impressive and everything. And it's still like the tornado looking in certain moments just looked impressive on a projected screen along with those visual effects. So it's so yeah, it was a great picture quality, and the sound was great too. It's I would say it's not as grand as the first Twister, but it's still very well mixed, very well presented in the home theater space, and the soundscape had the sound coming from all over. Um, and yeah, there's a good, decent amount of power. So yeah, I was really impressed. It was a great home theater experience. So if you like the movie, I do highly recommend picking up this movie on 4K Ultra HD. Um, okay, this next one I'm going to talk about. It's an IMAX documentary that I picked up on Blu-ray a bit ago called Super Speedway. I had seen a few IMAX documentaries growing up. This was not among those that I saw in IMAX theaters, but it was one that just sounded cool. I like car racing and all that, so I thought it'd be appropriate to check it out. And so I checked it out on my dedicated home theater, and the documentary is really impressive. Like it just within a 40. I mean, these IMAX documentaries, for those that don't remember, they were all under an hour. I think this one was about 40, maybe 45 minutes. And so basically, it just entailed two of these racers. One, and it was like a father and son duo. Um, so I forget their names. So I apologize about that. But just to show, it shows them trying to build the car, which seeing that process of, I mean, again, it's none of this is super elaborate. It's just giving you enough of a detail to see how it all works. And just getting that was impressive. And just seeing how they take time to test out the racing or the car while racing was impressive. Just what they have to go through and everything, and then just the racing sequences that are captured and presented are really cool. So if you have a way to find this one, I do recommend trying to get it. I don't know how easy it is to obtain. It is in the used market now. So um, let's just go through the picture and audio quality, and I'll go back to it in a bit about trying to find it. But the picture quality was like it was it was really good. Again, this is an earlier Blu-ray release, and the picture quality is not particularly sharp, but the watching it on a projected screen and feeling that scale and scope was awesome. So what it didn't do as far as sharpness and sharpness and all that, it still was impressive scope wise watching on a projected screen. So yeah, if you have a good home theater setup, this is one that just seeing these IMAX documentaries are really cool. Um, and then yeah, so that was impressive. The sound was definitely the winner here. Like just how it's mixed and how it felt in the home theater was impressive. Just like as you're here in the car moving from one spot to another and just recognizing that the car the car engine running and all that, and just hearing it from the car engine from one part of the soundscape to another is just kind of cool how it pans out. And there's definitely a good amount of power, and it will definitely have extra power in certain sequences where it revs up. So overall, this was a great home theater experience, mainly just for that experience alone. And if you have a great home setup, I do highly recommend trying to find this. I don't know what the price is. I picked this up a year ago. I got it. I think I got it for a pretty good used price, but I don't know how it is now. If it's hard to obtain or anything like that. One of my hopes is with a lot of movies starting to hit more 4K, a lot of catalog releases. Hopefully, someone looks at these and decides to try to put them out on 4K because it would be 4K Ultra HD. Because I think getting some of this remastered to be really cool. So, okay, there's that. The next one I'm going to talk about is Bicentennial Man. Um, the reason I watched this one is Sam Neill passed away earlier this week, and this one was kind of on my mind recently. And with his passing, I thought, you know what, this seems like an appropriate time to rewatch it. Um, so the movie was released back in 1999. I saw it in a cheap theater, and it was one of those that was like it's slow because it's one that takes its time to go through the journey of a robot. Yeah, his over a long period of time, and yeah, some parts drag a little bit, but it's one that I enjoy go back to rewatch. First off, it's got Robin Williams playing the main robot. His name is Andrew, and just if you ever watch any of Robin Williams's movies, he always gives it his all anytime he gives a performance. Some are much more beloved than others, but they're still like he always does an excellent job. And in this one, like I still think he did a great job here. And the makeup work for him when in robotic form was really impressive. And his performance um, as the robot was very well portrayed. And just being able to capture that, oh man, I don't know how much I should go into it. Maybe, yeah, just how the journey goes and how that portrayal reflects it. Probably know what I mean if you've seen it, but it is one. I think like hey, if you enjoy Robin Williams' performances and this one has made you curious and you don't mind like hey, there's certain slow moments. I think this is one worth checking out. And there are moments between Robin Williams and Sam Neill which I think are well done. There's a couple interactions that I really like. One that got me laughing pretty good, and so yeah, it's it's still worth. I still enjoy rewatching it. Um, and so I do recommend checking it out if you're a fan of Robin Williams. Um, And again, Sam Neill's role is mainly it he does play a role, a pretty decent sized role in it. It's not the whole movie, so we'll say it that way. Um, and I watched this on a DVD in my modest home theater, and this is not available on Blu-ray, according to my knowledge. Um, Hopefully, one day it hits Blu-ray or 4K Ultra HD, but right now it's not available there. So I did pick this up on a DVD many years ago when I found it for like $5, and so and yeah, just going back to rewatch it now is great. Um, in my modest home theater, like I mean the best word to portray the presentation, it's dated, but it's not bad. I think it's fine. That's the word I would use. Is it's fine. The picture quality is fine. Even like hey, I was able to just appreciate like everything looked fine. I was able to watch it and enjoy it. It wasn't to the point that it was distracting. The sound felt lacking, but still felt fine. Like again, keep in mind this was a DVD released, I believe, in 2000, so this wasn't something that like was going to blow down the doors. And it's not an action-packed science fiction movie. It is more of a drama science fiction movie, drama comedy science fiction movie. So yeah, it's not something with sounds that are going to blow the doors down, but it still does a good job. Like there's certain points where the music fills the soundscape and it still sounds really good in those moments. So um what was I gonna say? So yeah, and then some of how the sounds are executed in the soundscape on this presentation are good, but overall it's just fine. And that's like this is a fine home theater experience. And again, it's one of those that if you want to have the movie on DVD, or if you don't, you just want to have the movie physically, I'd go for the. I mean, going for the DVD's good because, hey, I have it on DVD, and even if I didn't, it's one of those I have enjoyed, and I'm glad I have it on DVD. I wouldn't pay huge bucks for it, but yeah. So yeah, hopefully one day they put it out on 4K Ultra HD or at least a Blu-ray. And who knows? Like, never say never. It could happen one day. Hopefully one day. Fingers crossed. Anyway, that's good enough there. Let's move on to the next one. The Elephant Man. Um, I picked this one up as part of the Criterion Collection sale going on at Barnes and Nobles. It got released on 4K Ultra HD, um, and I wanted to rewatch it. So I had seen it in theaters, and or no, I'm sorry, I'm correction. I saw it in a film class, not in theaters. My apologies. Um, but I did watch it in film class. It was presented in an auditorium, so it did have a sense of watching it in a theater. So that's probably the closest I could say of having maybe some kind of theater experience for it. Because yeah, it wasn't an auditorium. It was good seating, and the picture audio quality I think was fine. But again, it wasn't something designed to blow the doors down. It was just enough a way for enough people to watch it. And when I watched it, I only watched like 3/4 of it because I was late for it. I can't remember why. Maybe I had something that morning. I watched it on a morning. So, and what I missed, I went back and looked up on YouTube at the time. So, anyway, I so I did pick this up on 4K Ultra HD, and I watched in my modest home theater. Um, anyway, the movie, I heard about it a very long time ago. and it's one I remember hearing it was a sad movie, and that's all I knew about it. So, and getting to when I watched it for the film class, I'm like, yeah, I could. It was definitely a sad movie, and there were definitely aspects that were definitely intriguing, definitely well done. But it's something like going back to rewatch it now, I totally forgot certain aspects of it and how it was put together. Um, I think that's a good way to put it. And I mean, the portrayal of John Merrick, who was played by John Hurt, who did an excellent job. I mean, the makeup work is definitely one big part of it, because the makeup work for the elephant for John Merrick himself is very impressive. Um, but the portrayal by John Hurt wasn't a big part, and he um, brought that portrayal to life. This is based on a real person, and everyone else does a great job in their roles as well. So, um, what was I going to? So yeah, and just how it's shot in black and white and does have a it does feel like a period piece. It was released in 1980, but obviously takes place many years before that. I think the black and white helps kind of bring forth that mysteriousness that you just that putting that sense of a timepiece to it. And the part that really surprised me was the sound. Um, it sounded like there definitely felt more of a presence of the ambience in many of the sequences more than I thought it would. So like you could hear like in the alley you would hear like the steam machines and all that going forth, and it's just how much a presence of like machinery had, and um, being in the clock tower, you hear the clock tower and all that, and I wasn't prepared for that. I was thinking just be more dialogue driven, maybe some music, and so yeah, it was definitely um, well mixed, well balanced, and it sounded really good in my modest home theater. So um, yeah, so it's one of those like it's not an easy watch, and but it is one that I think if you're willing to go for it, or if you like David Lynch movies, I think I hear a lot of his stuff is definitely has that interesting um, way that it's presented. Um, and I think this he did a great job with the movie. I do recommend if you're up for it, you've heard about it, you want to check it out. I do recommend seeing it. I do highly recommend seeing this one. Again, I watched in my modest home theater. Picture quality looked really good. Again, it was on a 55-inch TV screen that I watched it on, and the picture quality looked really good there. Um, Actually, it was great. It was just it looked filmic and everything like that. And the sound was definitely way more impressive than I thought it would be. So it was actually really good and well balanced. And yeah, that ambience in the music filled had a very strong presence. So overall, this is a really good home theater experience. So, um, and I do recommend. I think I said it was a great home theater experience when I wrote it, so I'll stick with that. So yeah, if you can still pick this one up for 50% off from the Criterion Collection sale going on at Barnes and Nobles. And if you are a fan of this movie, want to get it, I do highly recommend getting this one. Um, Another one I watched, um, It's another IMAX documentary called Hubble. So I know this one came out in IMAX theaters. I think in early 2010 or maybe late 2009. I'm not sure which one. I never saw it in IMAX theaters. It was an IMAX 3D, but I remember just looking like when many years ago when Best Buy was selling Blu-rays and physical media for a long time, but many years ago when I was just browsing through and I found it on the shelf. I just decided to pick it up. I was curious because I heard a lot of good things about it and I was curious how it would be. And so, I watched it then and I was definitely impressed with what I got. And at the time when I watched it, I had a small home theater setup. It wasn't anything massive, but it was decent um, and still it was still very I was still very impressed with what was given, the information we were provided, especially the space images looked really cool, and learning how they fixed the Hubble telescope and all that. So it was definitely within a 45 minute presentation. It was definitely really cool. Rewatching in my dedicated home theater, um, was definitely a lot more impressive. The sound was definitely the picture quality. Yeah, it's an HD, but on a projected screen, my dedicated home theater, it looked really cool. Like the space sequences, like the astronauts going into space looked really cool, but this the stars going through the stars afterwards and how we were like guided through them through the mapping of the images, how that was done was really cool and it felt very immersive. So it was great. Um, and then the audio was in DTS HD 5.1 and it sounded great in the dedicated home theater. It sounded very immersive. That big loud um, IMAX presence, basically. It's very well mixed, very well presented, and balanced, and just how it felt with certain sequences um, was really well executed. So, and it was very well presented. So this was a great home theater experience. I don't know how easily available this is on Blu-ray. I know there isn't a Blu-ray 3D, which I didn't get at the time, but just having this on Blu-ray was still really cool. If you can find it, um, I do and you do like IMAX documentaries, something like Space Ones, for example, I do highly recommend picking this one up. Um, Hopefully one day they put it on 4K. We'll see. Um, okay, the last one I'm going to go through is Batman Begins. Um, I know Christopher Nolan has a new movie out in theaters, so I wanted to go through some of his older movies, and I had not watched the Dark Knight trilogy in a while, and I'm going to be going through them. But I decided to rewatch Batman Begins, and I watched that one in my dedicated home theater, and I've seen this once in theaters a few years ago, and it was really cool to see it that way. Before I'd only seen it on video, which was still really cool. But having the dedicated home theater, watching dedicated home theater on 4K Ultra HD was really impressive. Like I was very impressed with the home theater presentation. The picture quality was really good. Um, like colors and details looked really good, and there was a bit of film grain, and it looked rather filmic, and I was really impressed with that. So and then the sound quality, the sound was in DTS HD 5.1, and it sounded really good. Sounded it just the presence of like the ambience and the music filled the soundscape, and the rest of the sound effects were very well designed and executed, and everything else was well presented and everything. I really do like this movie. When I first watched it, it was still a really cool Batman movie, but it's one of those that's more grown on me each time I rewatch it. And the performances are really good. It's a good introduction into this iteration of Batman, but also help give an idea of like how Batman started his journey basically, and just like some of like where some of those origins come was really cool, and it was just like the production design just matched the scale they were going for pretty big. I feel like it gets a lot bigger, and you definitely like you feel like this is pretty big, and obviously the next two films, the scale keeps getting bigger, and understandably so. But I think this is one of those where it starts in a good big way, but it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming. It feels like it's knowing how far to take things, and that's what I liked about it. And the editing was really good. Plays with a bit of time, jumping between the past to the current and all that, but knowing how to weave it all together. And yeah, sound design's great. This is a really good movie and one I enjoy rewatching, and definitely one that continues to get better for me within time. And I do look forward to rewatching the other ones. Again, if you're a fan of Batman and Christopher Nolan, you've seen The Dark Knight, but you've not seen this one, highly recommend seeing this one. So, okay, those are the ones that I have saw in theaters and watched my dedicated home theater. Um, since Christopher Nolan has a new movie out in theaters, which I hear is really good, by the way. So, if you're a fan of Christopher Nolan, hopefully you guys go check this one out. The Odyssey. I hear it's really good. Anyway, my question of the day is if I could see any movie in IMAX 70 millimeter, what would it be? And I'm meaning I've seen certain movies that I've seen in IMAX, but a lot of the ones I've seen have all been like digital IMAX. And I'm not going to count ones that were not originally made with IMAX in mind. So, um, I mean, maybe I could count something like Apollo 13 because I didn't see that one in IMAX when it got remastered. I did see Star Wars Attack of the Clones in IMAX, basically IMAX 70 millimeter. It wasn't made for IMAX; it's one they reformatted for IMAX, and it was a cool experience. Anyway, I'm not gonna. It's I'll have to go through that one day. Um, but I'm going back to the question at hand. And again, I'm picking ones that I've not seen in theaters or I've not seen in the big IMAX theater, but ones that were made with that big IMAX theater format in mind. So I think the first, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, the second one in his trilogy. That's one I would like to see in IMAX 70 millimeter. I think you know what the other one I'm gonna go with. Ooh, oh man, this is hard. You know what? I'm going to go with a few options. We're going to break not just one, we're going to go with a few. Yeah, The Dark Knight, I'm going to go with that because those sequences would be really cool to experience that way. Any of Christopher Nolan's movies would be easy, especially like Interstellar and Tenet would be really cool. Tenet was cool in IMAX, and I think seeing that IMAX 70 millimeter would be awesome. So if that ever happens, I'll try to see it that way. Um, I don't think the Dune movie. I think the Dune movies are kind of more formatted later. Star Trek in the Darkness would be kind of cool to see that way. Um, I, all right. Not gonna leave you in complete silence. So Project Hail Mary would be really cool. Oh no, Interstellar. So yeah, those are ones that I would like to see in IMAX 70 millimeter. So anyway, and speaking of Dune, that would be a cool one to see. IMAX 70 millimeters Dune Part 3 when that one happens. Anyway, so yeah, let's just boil it down to the ones that I'm gonna I'll just go through five. I'll narrow it down to five, some of them being Christopher Nolan ones, and we'll just pick a few out of Christopher Nolan ones. I think seeing Project Hail Mary would be cool to still see that way. Um, um, Interstellar would be awesome. The Dark Knight and Tenet. I think those were like, let's see. I think those were five: Project Hail Mary, Interstellar, Dark Knight, and Tenet. And then we'll say Dune Part 2 would be really cool to see in IMAX 70 millimeter. Um, so I'll have to think about some other ones because I think there are a lot of cool ones that are out there. So, but anyway, thank you for that's what I'm going to call it good there. Thank you again for tuning in to Movie Theater Explorer here. I hope you enjoyed these reviews and my discussions, and I appreciate you tuning in. Whether you tune in for the whole thing, listen to a few reviews, only listen to one review, or listen to a portion of one of my reviews, or maybe a portion of two of my reviews. Regardless of what you've done, I appreciate your time checking this out, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. This is Brent with Movie Theater Explorer signing off.